Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Femme Tell All podcast. My name is Madison Bellissimo.
And I'm Ruth Devereaux.
And we're happy you're here. We really are.
So happy.
Today's episode, we're talking about social media etiquette.
Ooh.
I'm very, very excited to talk about this topic.
Let's dig in.
There's
a lot actually to cover here.
Yeah.
Where do we even start?
Yeah, I was going to say, where do we start? I think we start on my most piping hot conversation, which is men liking and commenting on women's posts when they're in a relationship.
Yes.
Do you think that's appropriate?
I do not. The end. Thank you so much for joining.
Me being like, do you think that's appropriate?
Yeah.
When I know goddamn well it's not.
No. I mean, okay, so let's clarify here.
Yes.
Obviously, men are allowed to be friends with other women.
Yes.
That's completely fine. You, as a human being, know the type of photos that are okay and the ones that are not.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how that will affect your partner.
Yeah.
And so you have to choose wisely how much it means to you to tap a photo for a millisecond of maybe somebody liking it or maybe actually viewing you or what you think of them very differently now.
Yeah.
Because of you liking this photo, because girls do talk, men, just so you know, behind the scenes, she's telling her friends, like, oh, he has a girlfriend, but he's liking these photos.
We've had
every time I
conversations like
post.
that.
Yeah, we have these conversations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've done it to other friends as well, where I'm like, her man's is in my DMs. And sure, it's not always a DM, but sometimes when they swipe up on a story and they comment on it, and I'm like, you're fully married.
Yeah.
I know you're married.
Yeah.
And like, I get there is a fine line of supporting someone, but then there's like where it's just clearly a picture of me. Maybe it's not even a thirst trap, but it's like just my face and my like makeup, and I'm like trying to be cute and trying to be flirty, and they're like fire emoji, and I'm like, not appropriate. Not appropriate if you're in a relationship.
Yeah, and also for most women that are getting these messages from you men, they don't want them either because they know you're in a relationship and it doesn't make them feel comfortable.
Correct. It makes us actually feel extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it ends up undermining your relationship to us. Like our view of it. And I think that's why I have the hardest problem when it's been me on the receiving end of my boyfriend doing it.
Yeah.
I've been like, you're putting out a message that we have an unstable relationship and that you want to go outside of it.
Yes.
And obviously in a Barbie dream house world, we don't care about other people's opinions, but sorry, facts are that I do care that someone else would be interpreting about our relationship that we aren't solid, that you want to go out of our relationship. That if we were in an exclusive relationship, I don't want anyone feeling that way.
Well, I think personally, it's just like you value your partner. You value who they are. You value what they present to the world.
Yeah.
And so even if you know, maybe you even know that their intentions aren't what could be perceived a certain way, you want to protect that perception of them to the world as well. So as a good partner, you're going to be like, no, this is inappropriate. Not even so much of like you're being inappropriate, but as a protecting source of like, I don't want you to be viewed that way.
The sanctity of your relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you think it's appropriate to ask your partner to be like, hey, maybe cool the jets on liking
Absolutely.
I think so too.
I honestly think in a relationship, it's appropriate to ask for anything that you want.
Yeah.
So if anything is making you feel uncomfortable, if anything is putting you in a circumstance where you're like, I don't feel great about this, you should always be going to your partner.
Yeah.
And you should judge how they react to that. If they react so angry or so above and beyond of like, you're not allowed to tell me what to do, they're not accounting for your feelings at all, then that's a bigger issue. That is past social media. That is a core relationship problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I fully agree with you. And I feel like sometimes we do when I've expressed this, and thankfully I think there have been times where a partner actually does hear it and goes, heard, never mind, we'll never do it again.
Yeah.
And that happened to me with my cheating ex too. So you never know. They could lie. He was like, never. Oh my God. I never want to make you feel uncomfortable. I'll never do it again. And obviously he was doing worse. So you never know. But but like, I think it is really, you should be able to express that.
Yeah.
And, one thing that I've read, because this is a hot topic on the internet.
Well, I mean, like, I think it's obviously like from your generation and part of my generation, like this is kind of new in the way that you should be acting, and it should be a conversation that's had maybe early on in the relationship, what do you expect your partner to act like?
Sure.
What makes you okay and comfortable with how they're interacting with other people on such a public forum?
Such a public forum.
That anybody can see. And we've had this conversation as well. Like, I think you also need to be aware, even when you aren't in a relationship, because you are being judged on how you're acting on these platforms. This is not private. Like, this is a demonstration of who you are as a person. So you're choosing how society or people around you view you on how you choose to interact on these.
Yeah. And it's funny because I have a very hard, fast rule with, like, there shouldn't be any commenting or liking to a certain degree with other, like, people of the same sex as me, you know, if you're dating me. But I do have a little more leniency when I've seen partners comment on girls' posts from the past where I've been like, okay, they were single at that time. And, like, that's something that I think you do have the awareness, and you should just have decorum. Like, it is social media.
No,
and that's
for sure.
what I think I'm in the minority there of, like, being okay with it.
No, I absolutely. I think it probably depends. Like, I think that I would probably be okay with it as well, but I for sure felt like I've become more of a jealous person in my current relationship. That if I look at old comments, I'm like,
I'll kill her.
I can't believe he didn't know I was coming.
He didn't know I was the love of his life. What? Yeah, no, I get that. And I get that, like, well, and it's because you know you have something so good, and you're going to be protective of that. And I don't fault you for that. But then you're
also really good about not doing the deep dive. Anybody I've dated, I've done the deep dive.
Yeah, you're right.
I go deep.
She goes.
Actually, anybody that my friends have dated, I've gone deep.
I remember one time I was dating someone. You went, "Give me your phone," and I went, "Oh my God, no!" And she went, "I'm looking up his Instagram," and she was like, "His followers aren't too bad." And I was like, because I had never done that before, and I still to this day have never gone through any of the people that I was dating.
Don't worry, I've done it for you.
And that's why you have a Ruth. That's the through line of Femtell. This is why you have a Ruth in your life. It's true. No, but like, you're right. And honestly though, God forbid I go through a follower, because I would be like, hang me out. Like, I'd be like, I'm dead. I can't do this. I would be so upset if I saw so many women.
But it's not even about women. I think it's the type of things. Like, it does say a lot too. Like, are they following accounts that are inspirational? Are they following accounts that, like, or is it just girly pages?
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to have and maybe, like, a few even.
Predominantly sex workers.
Exactly.
Like, and we are pro sex workers. I really want to make that abundantly clear.
Yeah.
But, like, that was something that I had to deal with in my last relationship. The man that is the pathological liar was commenting and interacting with a sex worker who was commenting back with him. And I was like, so do they have a relationship? Does he pay her?
Yeah.
And I would love, like, if you're going to ingest porn, this is another conversation that we could have.
But it was funny because even when you found this out, we had the conversation of, like, okay, if that happened prior, that's still a conversation. That's okay.
Yeah. Like, to me, it was a conversation. You're right. You were like, you should have a conversation. And I was like, it's fine. It's totally fine. He ingests porn. That's good.
Yeah.
And it is. But, like, you're right. Like, it had to be a conversation of, like, what are the boundaries? Because it was so public. Again, it was so easy to find.
Yeah. You didn't even look for it.
No, both of the women that I found that my ex was interacting with were women that were commenting on his stuff and commenting suggestive stuff on his stuff that it took me 2 seconds of going onto his page, his post, seeing a girl's comment, going, oh, who's this girl? Clicking on, which everyone does. Newsflash, everyone does. Not the crazy girlies, not the, like,
everybody does
everyone does that.
I do it to people I don't even know.
Yes,
because
it's
just
interesting. Yeah. I do it completely harmlessly. And again, this point, I wasn't really trying to get my boyfriend. I wasn't even.
You just noticed something.
I saw
you're
that
like,
she was
commenting.
commenting.
And it takes one click to go to that page and then see everything.
Yes, and Instagram, there's so many lovely things about Instagram and one of them is when you're following someone, you see their likes and their comments first when you go to the other person's page, because they're the only common person that you have. So it shows all of the posts that they like, all of the things that the comments is the first comment you see. And it's scary because when you start going down the rabbit hole, you're like, holy shit. I was like, this man is interacting and, like, currently was interacting while we were in a relationship.
Yeah.
And it was hard for me because it's like, well, yeah, she could be your friend, but there is a decorum there to not, like, not
even
comment.
For me now, being in a relationship, even if I see reels that could be suggestive in any kind of way, I'm not liking it.
Yeah.
And it's not even if my partner sees it. If somebody he knows that knows me sees that I'm liking certain kind of posts.
It's
like
just
that's
a public
another
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is just a public, you're just being respectful. And
Absolutely.
one thing I saw on the internet, that really struck me that I was like, yes, this is the answer, is someone was like, hey, if you can't go, so say the scenario is your boyfriend likes a woman in a bikini picture.
Yeah.
Would your boyfriend feel comfortable holding your hand, walking up to the woman in the bikini and going, hey, I like that? If you don't feel comfortable doing that in person,
it is a great test.
Yes, it is a really good litmus test, because if a girl's baking and it's like totally, or she's doing her taxes or whatever, you know, it's something that's
Let's post pictures of doing taxes.
I don't know why I said that, but it's true. Yeah, if that was like wholesome content, like, and she's your friend, and you would hold your girlfriend's hand, shimmy on up, and be like, hey, I like that.
Yeah.
Then everything's good. Everything's Gucci with me. I actually trust you. And I know that if you would genuinely go up to that girl with me in tow and say, I like that of you, that's really nice.
Yeah. Then you can do it online.
If it's a girl like, which we love the girls that are like that, and I try to be like that.
I like those photos because I want to support
and
girls
I'm saving them to be like, how do I recreate this?
And my boyfriend better like that.
Actually, but then it's true. You see these women that are, and this is their bread and butter. This is how a lot of women on social media make money, and they should get your bag, get your coin. Do not stop. Keep persevering.
Yeah.
But if my boyfriend's liking your picture where you're literally in lingerie, you're literally posing suggestively, and I'm like, again, I have no problem with the woman.
No,
not even
either.
A slight problem with her. And there's not an iota of either of us that is going, she shouldn't post pictures like that. No.
Do you?
Post all your pictures. Post videos. And post sound bites. Whatever you want. We support it.
Yeah.
But don't, if you're my boyfriend.
Don't be liking it.
And don't, God forbid.
You comment.
You comment. Oh my God. Death.
If I see a fire emoji, you are on fire.
That's the scariest part, is that I saw those. And I was so disheartened. But I didn't even jump down my boyfriend's throat, because I trusted him so much that I was like, there's a good reason for this. And it was so not. There was no good reason. There was not one goddamn good reason.
What is the good reason? What would be a good reason? What could anybody come back and be like, it's so important that I do this?
Yeah.
Because what?
And I think that's the hard part about this, is because it's such a hot topic.
Yeah.
I think some people, specifically men that are in these relationships where their girlfriends are coming to them and going, hey, I really don't appreciate it when you like or comment on girls' photos.
Yeah.
And they're getting so defensive.
Yeah.
And they're going like, well, what? I don't have freedom? What? I like everyone's pictures. Why are you trying to come for me like that? And it's like, I understand that argument of being like, this is a free-for-all. I like everyone's pictures. But you can't look me in my face and say you don't see the difference of a woman in a suggestive sexual content, as opposed to your bros in your fucking pictures of 8 men in the. It's like all of the dating pictures where it's like, who is who? It's like it's a group photo, and it's like and you're like, who are you? Who am I dating? Who am I trying to date here? But all of the guys love taking group photos. They love their group photos. They love their pictures with their fish. They love their pictures with their cars. And if we like those, it's not. And there is a double standard there.
I mean, kind of, but I've seen a lot of videos on Instagram of guys doing sexy dances, or doing where they're in the
TikTok guy that have you seen the guy that does he cooks but he spits on his it's very sexual.
What?
It's very there's a guy that he's kneading dough and he's slapping it, and it's to be sexual, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't like this, because if
I haven't seen this.
Oh yeah, there's definitely sexual men on.
So there is that out there.
But the
I mean, it would almost be akin if a guy had his genitals out, and you're like, nice.
Yep, liking that. That's really good. I'm saving that for later. Well, that's where it's hard, because I the only example I have of someone in my life, I know someone who's a Magic Mike dancer, and he's gorgeous and super talented, and those dances are suggestive to say the least. Okay. And I, as a viewer, I'm like, wow,
Very talented.
You're very good at that.
We applaud your skills.
But when he started doing that was years ago, and I was with my ex-boyfriend, who was a mutual friend of his as well.
Yeah.
And I remember consciously being like, I can't like his stuff. That's super disrespectful to my current boyfriend. Yeah. Because even though people know, famously, that I'm friends with him, as well as my boyfriend is friends with him, it would be inappropriate for me to like his videos where he's dancing and grinding on a girl. It would be inappropriate. If he just posts a fit pic, totally different.
Yeah.
He has his little bucket hat. Yeah. He's looking fun. Like, that's a friend.
We're going to go through your followers like, where's the bucket hat?
Where's the guy with the slapping the kneaded dough? No, but like genuinely, there's a decorum. And I don't think, I think men are hiding. I beg and I plead with you, if you are in a relationship, like, it will go so much further if you have that respect and that like awareness for your girlfriend, your wife, your fiance, what have you.
If you even have to question it, just don't do it.
Don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Because what does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
And that's where I'm like, when they argue, like, oh, she's going to think what? She's going to think what she's going to think? The girl you're not dating?
Well, and then also, like, if these girls are getting, like, however many likes on it, you think your like is going to make the difference in making or breaking that post.
Yes. And when we're receiving likes like that, like I had a friend of mine from grade school, her older brother followed me and liked a bunch of pictures out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. I go to his page. I'm like, this is weird. Like, I haven't seen this guy in forever. Go to his page. Page is filled with pictures of him and his girlfriend. And I see this and I'm like, what bizarre behavior. First of all, it's very inherently flirty. Like, there is the trope on the internet. You like more than 3 pictures. You're trying to flirt with me.
It's how I got my boyfriend.
It's literally a trope. Like, it's not, we can't act like, what? You can't be John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. I don't know. You know, like, you
I don't
can't.
think any episode's going to be complete now without
a movie quote. I'm sorry. But it's true. Like, you can't act aloof to it because everyone knows. It's an unspoken language. Like, and he did this, and I remember bringing it up to another guy friend, and he was like, that doesn't mean he's flirting with you. And I was like, in what world, my guy? In what world? And even if he wasn't, now my impression is that he's not loyal to his girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not loyal, whether it's small or not. And I, after being cheated on, have gotten no chill. Yeah. I've called out multiple guys that have tried to comment on shit of mine. Yeah. I had a guy that's a good friend of mine that we've always flirted on and off. Yeah. And he slid into my DMs pretty recently, and I said, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. Do you have a girlfriend? Because I think you do. And he was like, great question. I actually don't. I did have a girlfriend, but thank you for asking. And I was like, I just wanted to clarify because it wouldn't be appropriate if you had a girlfriend. Yeah. And I was like, I know that you think we're friends, and I think we're friends too. Yeah. But there are certain comments that you send me that are more suggestive than friendship. Yeah. And I was like, I just wanted to make sure it was cool. And that could have easily encouraged
women to call that stuff out too.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm getting more and more.
Yeah, it should. Like, I think that we as women have been taught so long to just like take compliments and be like, you're just supposed to like it and be happy that you got that. Mm-hmm. But like, it's okay to be like, no, this is super uncomfortable. Yeah. I feel like your situation that you're in is not conducive with you making these comments. Like. Yeah. As women, we should, or as anybody, even as men, like, because some women act like this too. Like, you should be able to call somebody out and say, like, this is inappropriate. Yeah. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think that's not that. And his reaction was so lovely, and he really didn't get defensive, and he really was like, that's a fair question. And I'm glad he was like that. And again, we cut out all the tension, right? Yeah. Whether it was the blurred lines of like, is he still with her? What's going on? Yeah. And like, now if he wants to flirt with me, I'm not mad at him. Yeah. You know, I'm like, okay, slide into the DM. No. But like, in the way of like, it's not like, I'm not already, if I wouldn't have said anything, I would have been like harboring this feeling that he's cheating on his girlfriend. Totally. And then if he would have ever tried to shoot a shot, I would have been like, you're a fucking cheater. Yeah. I'm not getting with you. But at least I was able to cut the silence and be like, hey, sorry, this is an awkward question, but are you spoken for? Yeah. Because I don't think it's a hard question. No. I don't think it's a hard question to ask. It's either a yes or it's a no, and then you go on from there. I do want to say, the other side of social media etiquette, and I think you've kind of experienced this, is now once you're in a relationship, what you feel like is appropriate of posting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you feel now that you're in a relationship?
For sure. Like I definitely was probably, when I was single, more free to do like the sexy kind of like pose, like whatever. I would never do that now. Like for me now, it's so much more like not only, like that's such a great question. It's not so much only what I'm liking or interacting with, it's how I'm presenting myself. And I don't want to be presenting myself as anything other than somebody that's in a relationship.
Sure.
And you can see clearly from my social media.
As soon as you go on that page, it's very clear.
It's clear when I'm single and when I'm in a relationship. Yeah.
And I've seen relationships where it wasn't as clear because they're an actor, they're a model,
totally,
and that is their bread and butter. So they are posting pictures of themselves. And all my advice, and not that I'm holier than thou and know what the right answer is, but as long as it's cool in your relationship, it's cool. And I remember when I was in a long-term relationship and I was still posting model photos and I was trying to get like more exposure for, acting and whatnot. And I remember there was certain photo shoots that I was like, these are definitely sexy.
Do you ask your partner?
I did.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
That.
And I remember being like, not that I need permission, but I think there's a respect thing. And like, I really am like, get your bag, get your coin. You don't need to ask your boyfriend, but I think it's just respectful, or your girlfriend or whoever, your partner. Please, like, I
feel like there's like this like trend of like, you're not supposed to ask, it's not asking permission. There really is, like, you would want your partner to do for your partner what you would want them to do for you. And if you wouldn't want them like interacting or posting things that are inappropriate, if they came to you and said like, hey, I'm unsure, like, do you feel okay with this? You would respect that. That is not like a child asking a parent for permission. That is purely respect, saying, I value you. I value your opinion. And I just want to make sure you feel comfortable.
That's a great point. And she drops the mic at least once in every episode. And I'm always like, go Ruthie. Like, it's so true. Like, I'm so scared to see that playback. I don't want to see me pumping my fist like
that's going to be a meme.
Oh my God. Go Ruthie. Slow it down. Yeah. It's true though. Like, and like, I'm so glad you said that because let me get serious again. I'm so glad you said that because you're right. And I think I lean more on the like hyper independence of like, I don't need to tell them shit. And it's like, I really don't feel like that at the end of the day.
No, you don't,
my partner ever asked me to do truly anything, probably I'd be like, I'm at least going to consider it,
I saw this video on Instagram the other day where this guy was talking about him and his wife, and he was saying, like, I'm sitting on this stage right now. If my wife called me and said, scoot 6 inches to the left, and he was like, and there was no room, I would still scoot.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't care if you guys thought I was weird or off camera, because to me, what matters is my wife's comfort. I want her to be happy. That's who I go home to. That's who I build a life with. And like, that is the ultimate thing in any relationship. You should not care about anybody else's comfort but the person you're building a life with.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And so you should, like, I think it is worth it if you still want to post pictures. You still, like, you can have that conversation. Because I remember at the time, my boyfriend was like, baby, post whatever the fuck you want. And I will give him so credit. Yeah. Like, Chan, you're great. All love. But like, genuinely, I remember him being like, no, fuck no, you're hot. Post them. I don't give a fuck. They know you're with me. And it was true because my page was so clearly I was still with Chandler. Yeah. And I'm so glad he gave me that freedom because then I knew. And if there was any creeps commenting, I'm not interacting with them. And then he would comment and he'd be like, hey, baby. And I'd be like, hey, baby. And it's true. Yeah. Like, it's like, that was such a freedom. And I'm so glad he gave that to me. And I really applaud him for that. And I would hope every partner would be at least somewhat lenient with that because obviously with acting and stuff like that, it's kind of hard and modeling.
Yeah, of course.
But I wouldn't ever do anything that was egregious that would make them feel uncomfortable. Yeah. But it is worth it to have that conversation. And, some people are really empowered by it where they're like, no, show your body off. I want to see it because everyone needs to know who I'm with. Yeah. And then some people are like, only for me, please. Yeah. And I remember, like, funny enough, the one that was cheating was like, only for me, only for me. Yeah. He wasn't ever super, thankfully, I just instinctually stopped posting when I was dating him. Yeah. I kind of stopped, I kind of went MIA on Instagram a bit. And it was because I wanted to be respectful to him. LOL.
And that's interesting, though, too. Like, I feel like these kind of conversations I feel like it also can't be a one-off, right? Yeah. Because like people's feelings might change. Like
totally.
It might be like, like some point in your relationship, I feel so great right now. I feel so safe in our relationship, but we all go through ebbs and flows in our relationship as well as like right now, I don't feel comfortable with whatever that might be. Like, it's just like, as you continue having a conversation in your relationship about everything, this should be an aspect nowadays.
That's such a good point. Yeah. I'm so glad you brought that up. No, genuinely, I was like, I'm learning something. And it's true because you're right. It does ebb and flow. And there might be a time where your partner goes like, hey, I'm so sorry. But, and not that they would have to apologize, but they would be like, hey, I'm feeling a little more insecure than usual. So maybe not post your 6-pack abs on your story. And I think that would be appropriate. Yeah. Like, I think that would be totally appropriate.
Completely, yeah.
And, I think social media is just such a funny, such a silly, and it feels like it's so trivial because it is. And that's where I'm like, don't fucking like the picture at the end of the day. What are you? Sorry, but I'm like, what is it giving you?
It's
what are you gaining?
But like, let's talk about that a little bit too. Yeah. Like, what people do feel they gain from the likes, from the followers,
the attention,
from the other outside. Like, what is it outside that?
It's outside
of
validation.
Actually having a business or a thing that you're pursuing online.
Yeah, please like our posts.
Please follow.
Us being like not appropriate, but them tell all.
That's different.
Yeah, it is. Continue.
But outside of that, like, what are you gaining from it? It is like they said that like you literally release a little bit of serotonin when you see those likes those bubbles, those comments or those things coming in. Yeah. So you're actually tricking your brain into thinking you're feeling good about something that is so passive and not really anything.
And it's not a currency, but it feels like it. Yeah. You know, like how many followers you have, how many
people treat it as such. Like people like go on your page and you'll look at like how many people, how many followers they have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And it really is, it's gotten to a point where it's obviously like
detrimental in some ways.
Yes, it is. And I think we just need to be aware of that. And obviously social media is a tool. Like we're using it as a tool right now. And you're trying, you know, at least you try to. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, like this is such a funny like tangent. I think it's funny. Maybe you'll think it's funny. It's such a green flag to me when they have a private Instagram. I'm like, oh baby, yes, like yes, tell me more. Like if I see a guy that has a private Instagram, I'm like. But then it's like there's also like if you're an actor, you're a musician, you know, it's like you have to have it public. So that there's caveats there where I give a pass. But like when it's a guy that's an accountant and he has I'm like, oh, 200 followers, say less, I'm there. Like it just feels so good. Yeah. Because then it's like, oh, I don't have to worry about it.
It's not even that too. I think what it also says to me is like, they don't have that mentality where they've given into that societal
as a
pressure.
Currency. Yes.
They've still they have a strong enough mind to be like, no.
Yeah, and it's like pictures of like their vacation from Guam, and you're like, I love that for you. You know, like nothing is vapid, and I'm just like,
yeah,
you deserve kisses. Like it's just so much. It's so.
Those were the blue check marks.
No, actually, but I'm like, it's such a beast. Yeah. Like social media is such a beast, and I think like even I think about Keke Palmer. Like, did you hear about any of that? I don't know.
I heard like little bits of it, but like
no. But Keke Palmer went to a Usher concert.
Oh, I did hear about and
she was dancing, and Usher's dancing on her. They're performers. Yeah. It's fun. He brings people up every show. This is not like and she's recently a mom. Yeah. She has a boyfriend, I believe. I don't think they're anything more than that. And he publicly humiliates her on Twitter. And he's like, "You're a mom now. You shouldn't be doing that." And I'm paraphrasing. I'm paraphrasing.
But also still, like, what does it matter? She's still a woman and still a performer.
And and also it's like, okay, if you truly are hurt by seeing your partner dance on another person,
that's a private conversation.
Do it publicly.
No, that is a private conversation. Yeah.
And like she handled it so well because she's Keke Palmer and she can do no wrong. And she was like, pretty much like fuck off. She started making merchandise of it, like I'm a mom. Like it was just so good.
I love that.
But it was like so many people thankfully came to her defense on the internet where we're like, first of all, so inappropriate for him to do it publicly. Then other men were pioneering him and being like, yeah, you're right. I would never want to see my wife, my baby mama do that. And it's like, what?
Wow.
How is that appropriate? Like, you can't police your partner in that way.
No.
Like,
again, if that is a problem, that is a private conversation.
Yeah.
That's like, that is you going to your partner and saying like, hey, I didn't feel comfortable with this. And especially if that's the mother of your child saying like, hey, I don't feel comfortable with this. And then you guys coming to terms together.
Yeah.
It is not a place to air dirty laundry.
No.
Or to like
and he was
put somebody
actively
down.
trying to humiliate her.
No, absolutely.
He knows she's a public figure.
Yeah.
And it's like so insane to me.
No, it's crazy.
And honestly, like you're saying, if you have that conversation and you can't come to a mutual decision, then maybe you're not meant for each other. And unfortunately,
totally.
you would never wish that for any couple.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you can't agree on anything, if you can't have a mutual decision, if you can't compromise on something, then maybe you're not meant to be together. And unfortunately, that's how the cookie crumbles. But like, I'm sorry. My one moment. But like, genuinely, I'm like that. Like, if you can't come to a mutual decision with mutual respect, then the issue's bigger than you two. Like, you're not meant to be.
Yeah.
But most people that respect their partners are going to come to some kind of mutual respect
and say like, this is what we both feel comfortable with.
Yes.
It's never one way or the other. It's not like anybody lays the rules and like that's what has to be followed.
No.
It is mutual respect. It is working together to come to what works for both of you, like across all like guidelines in a relationship. And we'll talk about relationship rules as well as the episodes come. But just to wrap us up here with social media, it is such a massive beast. It is a person-to-person comfortability, and it should be a conversation you continue to have with your partner, but have the conversation. Say, this is what you expect. This is what you feel comfortable with. If something stands out to you, if that feeling changes, if your wants change, like that is all a conversation, and it's just continue having it.
And you're allowed to have those boundaries.
Yeah.
We're telling you, Femtol is giving you permission to have those boundaries with your partner.
Set your boundaries and like stick to them.
Yeah.
But we are so happy you're here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, follow, and
subscribe.
Comment, and tell us all of your rules and relationships in social media.
Tell us about your crazy partner that might have, told you they can't, that you can't do something on social media.
No, totally. Tell us what you guys abide by, or if you're too scared to have the conversation, why? Like, what's holding you back? We love to hear from all of you guys. Thank you so much. We're so happy you're here.
Thank you.